Good evening. Today is March 7th, 2019. Welcome to the Reuben Hoare Library Board of Trustee meeting. We're just waiting for a few members to come in, but we're going to get started. I'm going to start with public participation, which we don't have any. Correspondence. No correspondence. All right, moving on to the approval of minutes. We'll look at the February 7th, 2019 minutes. Those were minutes from last month's meeting. And then afterwards, we're going to be looking at minutes that were taken during the Board of Selectmen meeting that was this Monday.
This was the meeting that I missed.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of February 7th.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the February 7th, 2019 minutes have been approved. Moving on to the March 4th minutes.
My name's misspelled, but other than that, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
How did I spell your name right?
Yeah, the A-R-C-K.
M-A-R-C.
Oh, yeah, well, that was an extra one. Sorry about that. Nobody caught that in advance?
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from Monday, March 4th, with a correction to Mark Rombacher's name.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the March 4th minutes have been accepted.
Fantastic minutes.
And Jenna, the February 7th minutes, Dave made the first motion and Chris seconded it.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that went away. Okay.
Seconded this one.
There's no Bartholomew yet, it's too early in the month to get it. So the MMDT operating balance is $1,261.69. And the MMDT building fund balance is $453,762.87. And that's the treasurer's report.
Any other comments regarding the treasurer's report? No? Okay, we're gonna move on to friends report.
That's me. And because I was so attentive to bring my laptop, I did not bring my notes. However, you were there. Yeah.
They replenished our programming account and our building account.
Right.
They agreed to let us buy a book scanner to digitize some of the old local history books. They also agreed to give $1,700 to Andy to bring the 2012 to present copies of the Littleton Independent to digitize those as well. We have to send them out to a company, which will do that.
Mini golf.
There's mini golf. We talked about mini golf. That's happening on March 22nd and 23rd. Get your tickets now. What else did we talk about? Oh, the Staff Appreciation Day is going to be on April 11th. And then we talked about who can come to Patrick Sweeney's every library talk. I think that was it. I can't think of anything else.
It's April 12th on
April 11th.
April 11th.
Yes.
Anything else regarding the Friends report?
I don't think so.
Okay, moving on to fundraising and public awareness committee report. There was a meeting this Monday for the fundraising and public awareness committee, but the entire board and Sam were at Board of Selectmen.
I did make it to the last half of it.
Okay.
So in the last half, well, it seems like the majority of the meeting was about the mini golf event, who's going to do what, what restaurants are donating food. They've created infographics. They've got most of them done. Demetra and I are going to do the video tour of the library on March 15th with Amy. I think that was it.
They were announcing some really cool sponsorships. I've been seeing that stuff on Facebook, and things are really coming along. Really good food sponsors. It's going to be a really great event.
Okay. Trustee updates.
Start down there.
Okay. Chris.
I just came from the high school where I ate some fantastic food at World Language Day. I think it's been a busy month, and I'm not really sure I can have anything specific to report.
Jenna, you have anything?
When was your book signing event?
February 24th.
Yeah, so I went to Chris's book signing event, which was lovely and very well attended. And I certainly hope that your sales were high that day. Yeah, so I bought a copy of her book and gave it to my daughter.
Thank you.
Yes.
I went to various board meetings for other boards, but we're going to be talking about that later on in, oh, it's not on here. I thought it was on here. Last month, we attended a Board of Selectmen meeting to talk to the public about the upcoming May town vote and to give a short presentation as to what the community is going to be seeing in regards to what we're asking for with the library, which, again, we're going to be discussing later on, probably in our upcoming information meeting, which is under new business. So that's it. Dave, do you have anything?
Almost set.
Okay, Mark.
So Dave and I were at the PMBC meeting last night. PMBC is going to be, if they haven't done it already, they're going to contact Johnson and Roberts to talk.
Tuesday at 1:30 here.
Tuesday at 1:30.
That's right.
There's going to be a meeting with the architect to start contract negotiations and plans for going forward. They're going to reach out to Vertex to see if they have capacity to be the OPM or not before they look elsewhere if they can't.
Mark, is Phil O'Brien from Johnson Roberts going to be the person that comes?
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay.
I've met with a bunch of people to talk about the library and various things. I would like to say that, there's been some talk in town about the library versus the senior center and things, and we're not advocating against the senior center at all. Personally, I am all for the senior center. The projects are not competing. We're both going forward at our own rate, and, we should be, I'm going to the senior council on aging meeting tomorrow to talk to them about how we've gotten to where we are in the process and to help them along in their process. So it shouldn't be an adversarial relationship, and I'm hoping it stays that way. So we need to do all we can to support the seniors in town. So.
Any other comments? All right, moving on to director's report.
Okay, so the teen room now has a new look. The shelving I ordered finally came in, and put in some new bookcases, the new seating, rearranged things. put in a TV and an Xbox One X for gaming that the kids have been enjoying so far. Yeah, so everybody really seems to like it. Friends, as I mentioned earlier, gave us money to purchase a new book scanner. We plan to use it to digitize some of our local history titles and make them available to patrons. The Historical Society is also very interested in using it for some of their materials. On February 28th, the staff and the trustees and friends and other supporters of the library project met with Patrick Sweeney from Every Library. The staff found it very informative. They really enjoyed learning about what they can and can't do concerning the project and what's legally required and everything else that Patrick talked about. The main floor emergency exit door has been changed into a regular door, which now provides access to the town hall without having to go through the elevator. And something else that's not on here is this morning I met with someone from Skinner. They're a auction house, and we are going to they're going to auction off the bust of Jesus for us
Hallelujah!
and the pedestal. So they're going to be coming to pick it up sometime soon, and they're waiving. She's waiving her fee because she lives in town, and they're also going to give us a 10% commission rate, which is lower than what it normally would be. And they've also offered to do an appraisal day at the library, which we're going to try to take advantage of.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, so she
People
said,
bring their junk in.
yeah, people bring their stuff in, pay $20, but she's going to waive her fee, and the money's going to go to the library.
Only $20?
Yeah, per person. Yeah. Up it.
I think we should up it
Okay.
to
So, yeah.
30.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Maybe have
So are we hoping for,
LCTV.
like, big money on the bust of Jesus? I mean, like, how is that like?
So she said, so when we had it appraised back in 2003, the bust was appraised for $4,500, but she said that that is actually the insurance rate, so that we shouldn't expect that. She's not sure. She said religious artifacts don't usually go for very much, but she thinks it'll be at least $1,000 to $2,000.
Wow. Do we know, where did it come from? Do we know?
It was donated to us back in 1901. I don't remember from where.
You don't remember from 1901?
Oh, sorry.
What's up with that, Sam?
Sorry. There's a little card next
Just
to
like
it.
every time I've ever had a Girl Scout meeting in there, the girls are like, Jesus lead us.
So, yeah.
That's great. That's exciting. I like the auction. Appraisal.
We're keeping the pedestal, or are we auctioning?
No,
it?
she's taking the pedestal too. So financial, we've spent pretty much all of trusts, so we still have money left over in books and gift, and that should take us through to the end of the fiscal year and help us to reach the mark. And as far as salaries go, it's going pretty well. So far, so good. The rest of my reports are the stats.
We talked before about having more notaries. You said you're notarized. You're in,
Yeah, I still have to get sworn in. I haven't gone to get sworn in yet.
and it was
And
Julie.
Bernardi is also, I think she submitted her paperwork, but she hasn't heard back yet.
And are we getting a counter on the new door?
Guess I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
I have a question,
Yes.
because so we mentioned Patrick Sweeney in the director's report. Maybe we can talk about it. What was his actual role?
What do you mean?
Fundraising consultant?
Yeah, consultant.
Fundraising consultant? Okay. Oh, no, I'm thoroughly satisfied. I was just trying to figure out exactly what his title was. Okay.
Anything else regarding the director's report? No? Okay, we're gonna.
You don't have, do you have circ numbers for compare? Or there's no circ numbers on the sheet, or am I missing that? There's attendance, but not circulation. How are we?
Sorry, I must have left that out.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm done.
Old business, ballot initiative and funding. I think that's Jen's domain.
Okay, so with respect to the ballot initiative, we are going to be meeting with Alex Pratt on Saturday at 2:30 to talk about how best to structure the ballot initiative and to, I think that he's planning on a calendar where we're sort of going back in time, so to figure out what tasks need to be done, who needs to step forward, and all of us have been requested to be there. The other stakeholders who were at Patrick's presentation also have been asked to be there, and I recognized in my request for people to come that people are already pretty taxed as far as the time and effort that they're giving toward the library, either through fundraising or public awareness or trustee work, and encourage people to bring volunteers along with them. So Alex has agreed to be helpful to us, but it's fair, in my estimation, to pay even sort of a de minimis consultant fee. He understands Nation Builder. He understands the town, and I think it is well worth our consideration to find money, one way or the other, to fund the work that he's going to do and any sort of supportive materials that we have, be it mailings or lawn signs or pushing ads on Facebook or whatever it might be, to get the word out, get people excited about voting in May for I think at this point, Mark, it's 1.5-ish.
It's one, so right now, what, we'll know, with the contractor, with the meeting with the architect on Tuesday, we'll know more we're gonna work more firmly on getting the number than the number we've been throwing out is 1.5.
Okay.
It will not be an override in May.
For sure.
We talked with Anthony yesterday at the PMBC meeting. He says their plan is to not do an override in May, then what we use, and to do a short-term borrowing article. And then if they, depending on how the funding goes in October, that number might be ruled into an override there. So it would be one override vote, and potentially in October for the whole amount. But there is currently no plan to do an override in May.
Which means at town meeting, we would need a majority or 2/3?
We still need 2/3 because it's a short-term borrowing article,
Okay,
but we wouldn't have to go to a ballot afterwards.
that's good. Right? So with respect to the ballot initiative funding, I think Patrick was really clear about the fact that it makes the most sense to ask donors or people to put money toward that, and perhaps the Friends would be helpful to us. I'm not sure from what he had to say on the 28th whether we can take funds from the so-called building fund to underwrite the costs of promoting the merits of all the things that we're going to try to promote between now and May. From your recollections of what he had to say, was there...
So we can do a mailing out of those funds if it doesn't say vote for the library. If it's
It's
informational.
just informational, yeah?
We can send an informational
Right.
pamphlet, but we
Right.
can't from no library or trust funds can we send out anything
Okay.
It says vote for the library.
Okay. But a nonprofit like the Friends could advocate for that.
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone here have a pulse on whether the Friends would be warm to doing that? To the tune of, I don't know, $2,000 or?
No idea.
Okay.
But we can put out a postcard. I think I sent you, it's like
You did.
$375
Correct.
for printing plus
Yep.
whatever it would cost for postage.
Right, okay.
And if you do a postcard, the postage is nominal.
Right, right. So you figure about $600?
I think it would be less than that for probably.
But the postcard is informational and not advocacy.
Right. We can put out an informational postcard about the new library project.
Right, right.
Like the town did for the sewer project. It would be the same type of thing.
Well, is it worthwhile to try to quickly put out a postcard advertising our informational sessions? Like quick, like tomorrow? I mean, maybe we'll miss, there's one on the 15th?
Yeah, that might be hard to.
The 16th.
16th. It might make sense to try to get something into people's mailboxes by the 24th, the 25th, telling them about the dates for the remaining ones.
What are the dates on those again? What are they?
March 16th, March 27th, April 18th, April 27th.
So I think it's reasonable to send out something around the beginning of April,
Okay,
right?
to capture the
To
folks.
We can capture, yeah, it is still be, it's not too early that it would be, it'd be late enough that it'd be still fresh for town meeting and you can still capture two of the,
Okay,
so if you had something out,
right.
in the mail somewhere in the first week of April, I
Right.
think that would be a good
Well, it could be
plan.
the case that those first two informational sessions are so awesome that we're going to have like standing room only for the last two. But I think that advertising it makes sense. So I'm going to make a motion that we allot up to $600 to advertise the 2 April informational sessions to whatever it is, all addresses in town.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Write that
Aye.
down.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion made.
Can we make sure before we
Oh,
send
from
it out,
MMDT,
we can do that out of the building fund, right?
out of the building fund,
And
the
then-
MMDT building fund.
Before we send it out, is there someone we should run it by in, like, Diane's office or someone to make sure that that we're not gonna get in trouble for, to clear that there's nothing that's advocacy in there, right?
I think if we simply
ballot.
say, please come to one of these two informational sessions so that you have a good understanding of the library project in order to
Okay,
attend town meeting, I think that is not advocacy. It's encouraging people to learn about something and then thereafter make a choice. I don't think we need to
okay,
run it by anyone.
okay.
And, we can put like in, what's that, like subliminal text? We'll have it, vote yes. Like behind like little dots or something where you can't really see it, but you kind of feel it. Look into that. That might actually increase the cost. Okay, and then I will, with your blessing, ask the Friends to allot some money at their next meeting toward the advocacy aspect of the ballot initiative.
Okay.
We also can put out on Facebook, if you want to vote yes for the library, click this button and donate $5, and we can see how many people we can get to throw $5 into the hat. But I'm not sure we can do that. We can talk about this on Saturday with Alex, but there might be a way to start a Facebook group, vote yes for the library in May, and click here to donate $5 toward the Get Out the Vote effort.
We can't use our Facebook to say
You
vote
can't.
yes.
Correct. So we would need to start a new group.
Right.
Okay, all right. All right, we can talk about that with Alex on Saturday. And, with respect to campaigning and his ongoing involvement with politics, both at the local and state level, he has a really good grasp on what can and cannot be done. And I am of the opinion the amount of time that it saves us to go do the things that actually take knocking on doors or making phone calls, his experience and expertise saves us a ton of time, and perhaps ethics issues and all those other things that can make things complicated. So, okay, so I'll ask the Friends at their next meeting. Okay.
Okay, so,
Sorry, just got out.
so we've just made a motion to allocate up to $600 from the building fund to send out an informational postcard to the community, inviting them to our last two info sessions in April. And those info sessions will be on Thursday, April 18th, and Saturday, April 27th. We also have the places and times too, but I don't have that on.
Thursday, April 18th is 10 a.m. to 12 in the library Cooper Room.
Mhm.
Saturday, April 27th is 7 to 9 in room 103 of Town Hall.
It's a great event.
So that was a motion,
Closes 6:30.
That was a motion that was,
so it needs a second.
yeah, did
I
we?
seconded.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we vote it?
Yes, we did,
Okay.
and it was approved.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Moving on to building maintenance issues. This is a topic I asked to be regularly added to our agenda because we seem to very frequently have issues come up. So it may as well just be a topic. So we've had some building maintenance issues in the last couple of months. Where are we now, Sam and Helen, with those?
The tiles still need to be fixed. Windows still need to be fixed. Other than that,
I
there hasn't.
can add one.
What's that?
The toilet that won't stop
Oh,
running,
yes.
that leaks all
Yeah.
over the floor.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Where is that
Just
toilet
experienced
located?
that.
downstairs
Yeah.
and
Yeah, downstairs.
when you come in.
Okay.
Didn't we have one person fall off the stairs this month again?
Did we?
I think so. I think it was in the, I have to look at the log.
Now, is it just to refresh my memory, somebody needs to come out to take a look at the windows and the tiles and to give an estimate of how much it's gonna cost, or they know how much it's gonna cost and it just hasn't been?
No, according to George, the windows are just too old
Okay.
and cheap.
Yeah, so they're not even gonna bother to
Yeah.
replace them,
We
okay.
would have to go to PMBC and request
Okay.
funds for new windows.
And what's the problem with replacing the tiles?
I don't think there's a problem. I think he just needs to paint them.
No, I think he needs to replace them.
Where's the tile?
The ones on the
Ceiling
ceiling
tiles.
that are all water
those.
stains,
The
yeah.
one in the Cooper room from
Yeah.
the
That's
leak?
nothing, those things are
Oh,
easy.
yes,
They're cheap, that's,
Yeah.
just get him to. I don't know if they're on his radar again. You know how like sometimes you have to remind people?
Yeah, I'll remind him.
But the lights in the young adult room were
Those were
fixed,
fixed.
so they don't blink or randomly turn off anymore. Okay. And there was something else that was fixed too, right?
The light switch.
The lights.
Right.
Lights.
Okay, all right. Okay. Slowly. Okay, new business, architects for the new building.
So, we talked,
We voted on Johnson
we
Roberts.
voted on Johnson Roberts since they're, the contract we have with them for the, doing the initial study, can be extended, so we don't have to go out to bid. So you said there's a meeting Tuesday.
Yeah, today Steve Moore and I, we had a conference call with Phil O'Brien from Johnston Roberts, and he is totally willing to come in next week. He's coming next Tuesday at 1:30 to meet with myself, Mark if he can come, Anthony's going to be there, Steve Moore is going to be there, and the OPM from Vertex,
Kevin,
Heffernan,
yeah.
he will be there. I also reached out to NBLC and informed Lawrence Dara of our plans, and she actually wanted to be at the meeting, but she can't make it. So she wants me to take good notes, because she wants to know everything that happens. So the plan is to meet on Tuesday, go over the proposal of what Johnson Roberts can do for us, how much they think it's gonna cost, how we can integrate the Vertex OPM into the project, what sort of delivery method we want. There's either a design, bid, build, or CM at risk, and they're trying to decide between the two. Don't ask me what that means.
I was gonna ask.
So the design bid build, basically, my understanding is the architect is basically going off and creating plans. And then when they're done, you go out and hire a contractor to try and implement those plans. And if you go that model, it's the lowest bid contractor you pick. At the CM at risk, as you're going through the process with the architect, the contractor's on board, right? The contractors, like, will be hiring a contractor in May or June, effectively,
Right.
to go to help so they're guiding the architect more from their perspective. It's more of an integrated effort. From my understanding from PMBC, they say you typically get a better product out of the end. And it's usually a faster process
If you go at risk.
if you go at risk.
So
Right.
why is there even a discussion?
Is it a
Because
cost?
there is two ways to do it.
Because
Okay, sorry.
it could potentially cost a little more, but I think because you're not necessarily going the lowest bid, because you're picking someone before you actually
Gotcha.
have the project.
Okay.
It sounds like it's much more of a partnership between the three entities rather than the other way, right?
My husband, the architect, operates in that second way, yeah, yeah, okay.
So I'm probably not doing it justice in explaining it.
No,
This is
but
my-
I didn't
my
understand the
third-party
acronym,
understanding.
but that, working as a partner with it, it makes a whole lot more sense, yeah.
So,
And I spoke to BLC, they have no problem with us choosing either one. They said past libraries have used both. There's a new library consultant at MBLC. She's the former director of the Woburn Public Library, and they had a project, and they did see him at risk. She said that it was okay, that it wasn't as cost-saving as they thought, but that was because their building was older, and they were renovating it, and there were issues that came up due to the age of the building. But she said that other libraries have used it, and, you know, they don't prefer either one, basically. They're okay with whatever we want to do, whatever we feel is best for us.
Retrofitting is often very difficult, you know, all kinds of stuff, yeah.
The Woburn building was just recently renovated. There's a new library trustee info session coming up April or May, and there's a number of dates, and one of them is at the renovated Woburn Library. I thought that was very interesting. I'd like to go out and take a look at what they've done. The OPM is a new OPM, correct?
Right, we had a different company before that we went through, but I think we went through like 5 of them because they kept quitting. So I swear it wasn't me. So we decided to just scrap them this time around. And since the town had this relationship with Vertex now, we decided to go with them. And when we spoke to Phil today, he said that Vertex is great, that he's worked with them before, so he has no problem working with them.
they were the OPM for the fire station.
Right.
Oh,
They're
okay.
the OPM for the space needs working group. So the relationship we have with them right now is through this, since the library is part of the space needs group, we can use the same OPM, right? And don't have to go out to bid again.
And so they really understand, they have a feel for the town, so they can
Yes, I think they're getting that.
guide the plans to fit what our town is. Okay, that's great. Any other comments regarding the architects for the new building? Okay, we're gonna move on to our upcoming informational meetings, which we just briefly spoke about. We should inform those watching when the March informational meetings are going to be and where and what time?
So Saturday, March 16th, from 3 to 5 p.m. at the police meeting room. Wednesday, March 27th, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the Cooper room in the library. Thursday, April 18th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the library Cooper room. Saturday, April 27th, from 7 to 9 p.m. in room 103 of Town Hall.
103?
103, yes, downstairs.
What was the time of that one?
7 to 9 p.m. So LCTV has agreed to tape the first one. I think they're going to train me in how to use the camera for the Cooper room, for both Cooper room meetings. I'm not sure about Saturday in room 103, whether or not they're taping it. I have to confirm with Kirby.
I know how to use the camera.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Phil O'Brien, the architect, he's agreed to come to the Wednesday, March 27th meeting and the Thursday, April 18th meeting. And he thinks he can come to the Saturday, April 27th meeting. He just can't go to the first one because he has a family thing. But he'll come and be there to answer any questions and share any information. Ask him to share.
So are we going to ask him to give a synopsis of the project like he did a few years ago, or is he
Well,
just
he-
going to be there?
He offered to give it.
Okay.
It's up to us whether
Okay.
or not we want him to do it. I think now that we know that he's going to be the architect, that might be a good idea, but it's up to you guys.
So I was going to volunteer to start putting together the presentation if someone will help me polish it. I'm not very good at PowerPoint. But I was basically going to start from the presentation we did last time and whittle it down and then go through, if we have some of the information on what, like MBLC recommended we change and some other things like that, we can put that in. I view these informational sessions as there's a couple different things. One is to get the information out to people, but we also need to start getting feedback on, what changes people would like to see,
Yeah, I thought we could bring like index cards or
Yeah.
something.
So kind of get,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not necessarily the shreds going, but something similar to that, where we can start getting information back from people, because it'd be good to get that feedback, and I don't know when we have to get that feedback into Johnson and Roberts for the next round, because we don't really have a great deal of time. We probably need to get a schedule from them on when things need to be.
I think that's what he's bringing next week. And when Steve and I spoke to him today, he also said he knows that we want to talk to him about the notes that MBLC had when they first looked at the building. When we were approved for the grant's approvers had notes that we're going to share with him. And he also knows that there are people in town who just don't like certain aspects of the design. So he understands that we're going to be giving him notes about that. Steve also mentioned that the question was brought up by FinCom at the last meeting of what the operational costs would be for a new building. So he said he's done that before for other libraries, and he's going to try to work up something for us.
That would be helpful.
So I will try and, if you send me the notes and Phil's presentation, I'll try and get something out to people to look at over the weekend.
And what about information such as why we need a new library with all the safety issues? I mean, there's documented incidents that have happened. There are photographs of.
I think we have some of that in the presentation already.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that don't we have two presentations now, right? The first one we did and the second one, they're slightly different. But some of the slides are the same, I think.
So
So-
I'll try and make sure that's incorporated and get it out to people. And, I mean, we don't have a lot of time between now and the 16th to put the presentation together, so.
Okay.
Do you have ideas on, or an understanding of what aspects of the design people do not like?
The exterior.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Basically, a lot of people don't feel it's Littleton enough or New England enough.
Okay.
It's too modern. Personally, I kind of agree with them.
Yeah, somebody said it looked like a school.
Yeah, that looks like a school.
Okay.
I've heard people say that they support the library, but they won't vote for it because they think it's ugly. Yeah, so things like that.
Okay, so we need to,
And that's fine. I mean, Phil knows that what we gave at town meeting last time,
right,
it can change.
okay.
Basically, the only requirements they have is that it has to stay the size we said, which is 22,000 square
Yeah.
feet, and it has to be there at the slope site.
And
Everything else can change.
so, and I'm assuming things are gonna be moving around inside, so it wasn't really the aspects of the library itself, it was just how it looked.
Yes, because I don't think most people really care about where. everything-
MBLC had more comments on.
Yeah,
No,
MBLC.
yeah.
I
Oh,
think,
interior.
Maybe I'll see
Yeah.
your comments on the interior.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
And
interesting.
it's mostly that if you look at the floor plans, Johnson Roberts put all of the stacks basically together. Like it's just one big row of stacks.
They've done libraries before?
Yeah,
Okay.
75% of what they do is libraries. So we just want them to be broken up a little bit. I think there are certain rooms we want to move around,
Yeah, okay.
things like that. It's
Well-
nothing too bad.
Exterior can be changed.
Yeah, the exterior can be changed.
I keep telling people that, you know, there was complaints about the exterior, and I said, everything in the library can change, we can still make it a purple library with pink polka dots at this point, and
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then we will also have to examine what sort of LEED certification we want.
Right.
There are different levels to it, but the more you try to do it, it's more expensive. But then you also do get more money back. So there's a trade-off.
So
that was
do we
actually one
ha-
of the questions that came up at the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the selectmen's meeting.
Yeah.
How much are you spending for LEED certification versus how much you get back?
Right.
So can we have that broken down as to what each level, silver, platinum, gold, whatever, would mean, what we'd have to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can have Johnson Roberts do that. We can have Phil do that.
Okay.
And then basically you get a certain, if you do like certain levels, you get a certain percentage back
Right.
of the grant. So like regular LEED is 2% of the grant.
Okay.
Silver is like 2.5% of the grant. So it keeps going up,
Okay.
but then the costs also increase.
Right, of course.
Does having different levels of that certification change any kind of operating budget down the line, or any kind of like what is that,
Well,
like environmental?
the higher you go, the more energy efficient, the more.
Right, so that would affect
it would affect
your,
it, right,
in essence, at some point it pays for itself, even though it might be
right.
50 years down the line or something, right?
Right.
I think that's an important,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just the, because I think the question on Monday night was about, well, how much is it going to cost us to make it at that extra, but it's not just what it's going to cost us today, it's how much we're going to
Right.
get
How
back.
much
It's
you're gonna
some-
save you later, right?
Later, right, so it's a increment,
And the planet.
and the plan is.
Well, it's important to point out to the community that we're making a building that's going to stand for 30-plus years.
Hopefully longer than
Long
that.
as we hope.
Yeah.
50.
50?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It has to stay a library for 20 years. That's what
Yeah.
the grant says, but the lifespan is anticipated to be 50 years at
Oh,
least.
yeah.
So
Our
you,
building's approaching 100, so.
Yeah.
yeah, you have to take these things
The
into
Jesus bus has been
consideration.
upstairs since 1901, so. Sorry. All right, good, exciting.
Yep. Any other comments regarding our upcoming informational meetings?
I know that there was something in an email about having as many people there as possible. Do we know who's able to be, because I'm sorry, I did not write down the times, and I know I have this someplace else. I know that I'm not even in the country for one of them,
316, I could be there.
so I'm happy to be there if it's not on a school day when I'm working.
That work thing gets in the way.
Sorry,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean,
Calendar.
I think, isn't there, see, I completely
So
forgot.
maybe we
myself.
should put up like a sign of genius, and just people can click off.
That's great.
316 is
I mean,
a
I don't feel like
Saturday.
we all, 6 of us, need to be there at every
No.
time. I think it would just, you know, if we,
So we should probably basically put out and who's going to do the presentation at each of them, right?
yeah.
And I don't think Phil should be doing the presentation at any of them. We should be doing it, and Phil's there for backup
For
and to
questions
answer
and
questions, right?
Right.
So,
Well, I plan to be at all of them. And I don't mind giving part of the presentation.
Let's put out the sign up.
I do that.
James type thing
I
and-
should be able to be at anything that's not during a work, like weekday work hours. Like Saturday is fine, evening's fine, I think. So it's just that Thursday that's during the day. Is it the one Thursday that's during the day?
Mhm.
Well, the first
That-
one's 3 to 5, does that count?
Yeah, but that's Saturday,
Yeah.
right?
Saturday.
Oh,
That's
okay,
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thursdays 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Thursday, the 27th.
That one's.
April
I
18th.
don't think I
Sorry,
can.
oh, yeah, I'm not here at all.
Yeah.
Have we put up a sign for those and
Yeah.
started advertising them in the
The
library?
first
and-
one, yes. I'm gonna start doing the rest. Yeah, the first one, I've put out a Facebook event.
Yeah,
I put up signs everywhere.
it's in the elevator.
I sent out something on Constant Contact. Put something in the newspaper.
People have been sharing it on Facebook too. I've seen it come up
Yeah.
with friends, people, the
Yeah.
the fundraising committee have been
Other groups
sharing
have shared it. It was on Residents for Better Littleton. I saw it on there.
Okay.
And I sent it out to all town employees.
So, outside of these meetings, do we have a plan for how we want to get feedback from people for what they'd like to see, or how we want to?
I'm open to suggestions.
Because I know, I mean, I ran into Emily Squires the other day, and she was interested in, participating if we had another round.
Right.
I don't know,
So
it's
that-
a double-edged, I mean, how many people you want to get involved, because it's too many.
Yeah, so usually there's a building committee, but we have a PMBC. So I don't know how we balance the two.
PMBC is not going to be deciding.
Right. So do you guys want me to speak to Diane Corey about starting a building committee? Because I think that was the issue we had last time too, was about getting everyone, not having such a large group and having people sworn in and.
What do you mean by, so, tell me what you mean by a building committee, so that.
So
what
a
you
building
mean-
committee would be a group of patrons from the community who would give input on what they want to see in the new library.
What about members on other town boards? Would they be included as well?
We had-
And how many, the word is, how many from each town board would be invited to sit on this
Well,
committee?
that's the thing, and we don't want it to be too large, because then it gets out of control.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a committee to see what we want in the library? Is that what, did I miss that?
To help with this coming up design process.
The layout, of what you want in the library?
Right.
Okay. Can we ask the staff what they'd like?
Well, staff members can be on it. I mean, I'm not saying that this committee is the end all and be all of what happens in the library, but usually with projects like this, there are designated groups. that-
Yeah.
Who
No,
gather
agreed.
information and then
I mean,
report
we
back.
had-
Make
Right.
recommendations.
Right,
Yeah.
Don't we have a similar group
Right.
like this? Yeah.
Right.
We did.
Yeah.
I was on it, and Emily was on it, and
right.
because we went through the whole, we had the two different ones, the site.
Yeah, it kind of kept evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were 2 or 3 committees.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think we
But
should, I think we should have one of those, right?
Right.
Yes.
Out of everything that we learned and all the research that we did in the beginning, all those trips to different libraries and all of that, and all the horror shows that we heard from people, there's 12 different kind of light bulbs in the library and all that, all those little things. We want to try and avoid that.
But this sort of building design working group would be formed after the May vote? Or we should have them ready to go after the May
I
vote?
think we should have them ready to go now.
Now,
If we're hiring the architect and he's starting.
Oh, okay, all right.
Um,
So we should figure out who's gonna sit on it?
Well, we should, we should.
Well,
figure out-
from us, and then who else are we gonna invite to be part of the working group there?
And what's the process for getting them? The trustees just pick people, or, the selectmen pick people for their working groups. I assume we're effectively in the same.
Right, yeah.
Where we could interview people, or we could just. say how big of a committee we want, and if we get more than X number of applicants, then we have to interview them,
We could-
so.
Yeah.
How big do people think it should be?
I don't think that we need more than one participant from each board. And do we need all the boards? That's the question, but I don't think we need more than one person.
So,
I don't see what benefit
so,
a person who has nothing to do with the library is gonna give us in planning what to put inside the library.
Agree.
See no value at all.
I would say it would be nice to have someone from the planning board there, potentially. That's the only board, and I'd say PMDC, but I don't think PMDC cares so much about this aspect as the other, so. But the planning board would be nice so that, you know, you're following the regulations along the way. To have someone from the planning board or familiar with the planning board. I don't think it, and other than that, I don't know that there's really should be a requirement on the other boards. I don't know that they're gonna serve that much of a specific purpose for how the interior of the library goes, right?
Not even the selectmen?
I think we should offer them to sit on this, but I don't think it's required that we have one.
I agree.
And generally tends to be more people from the public than it does
Right.
boards, you know, and staff members.
So you wanna have like a group of 5 or 7 or something like that, probably.
Can't you just put out a call for interested people, see who, and people that respond, interview them, and make a board that seems like they all, you know, mesh together and they have different things they bring to the table as far as maybe one is very good communication-wise, the other person might have an architectural background, someone might be an economics
Yeah.
type.
I agree with Helen.
Yeah, I think we just need to decide how many people there are, right?
7.
Okay,
Okay.
so how do we put out the call? Independent?
Ben, Facebook.
Can I just be clear, you're asking 7 people from the community, or the entire committee is gonna be made up of 7 people?
I think you want 7 people from the community, and you have 1 or 2 trustees on there.
So maybe 9 or 10 altogether.
Okay, how many staff members?
Well,
3.
so you want to say 2 trustees, 1 or 2 staff, and then
Not 1 or 2 staff, 3 staff.
I think you need a children's room person.
3 people who work in the library.
It does, because
How's
they
that gonna
know,
work?
they know libraries.
No, I'm not saying that they're not going to, but
So why don't we
You can-
have
you
one?
just made it too large of a board. Is the
Yeah, why don't we
problem.
make it 1 trustee, 3 staff?
1 planning board.
I think we can invite them, I don't think we can mandate that they are part of
You
it.
can ask them, yeah.
So it consists of 1 trustee, 3 staff, and that's 1 and 3, 5 community members, 3 community members?
I think you have too many staff.
I think we do too.
And the reason is, now you have, if you have 1 trustee and 3 staff, and you have a 9-person board, you already have your vote, right? If you're doing anything, you already have the board dominated. You can't do that. You can't set the board up that way.
So 1
Right.
trustee, 1 staff member, and 5 community members? And the trustees will also invite,
I'm okay with 2 staff.
2
There's
staff.
2
But
staff.
3 is too many. You just have to have too large of a board.
I think you
then.
have to represent one in the
It'd
children's
be nice
and
if
one
there was
that-
1 from the children's room and 1 from,
adult or YA, or,
yeah, so,
just because their needs are different.
that's not saying that staff can't come and talk and do everything else, but if you're doing something that, you can't have that many people with that much of an interest voting.
And Sam doesn't count as one of those 2 staff members, right?
Doesn't count.
We never count Stan.
Well, I'm just trying to get a figure of how many people would be on this committee, and you're talking about voting and make sure that the voting is fair and it's not all library.
I guess they don't really have a permanent vote anyway, because we're,
Right, you guys are the
but you don't want them to, their recommendations to be completely dominated by one side or the other,
Right.
right?
Okay.
You want to make it more fair.
So one
That
trustee,
means we
two
won't get a
staff.
pool.
We're gonna invite one from the planning board, one selectman.
I think we ask for the planning board and the selectmen, say we're forming this and we'd like to have a representative, right? But if you don't, you know, we're going forward anyway, right?
And then,
But you'll take people from the community.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and then, yeah.
How many from the community?
We'll make it a 9-person board and.
3?
So right now we're at 5, so 4
Mhm.
from the community.
Or make it 7 and 3 from the community, right? It's a little more manageable. If you think it needs to, 7 or 9 is a fine number. I
You're
wouldn't go any
saying
bigger than
one trustee, 2 staff,
Mhm.
and 5 community members puts us at 8.
Yeah,
Potentially BOS and planning board as well,
yeah.
And a Sam.
and
It
Sam.
doesn't count.
But I don't count.
So we're not 9 people. I guess is what the number is then, right?
9 total. So let's see what planning board and selectmen say, and then maybe go from there.
So, okay, we'll say 7 to 9 then. Right, we don't know how many people we're gonna get.
Right.
Okay.
So how are you going to ask the community members?
So we can get it probably posted on the town website,
Yeah,
right, like they post for other
Yeah.
vacancies.
yeah, I can speak to Diane tomorrow, I guess.
And we can post it on Facebook and everywhere else too. And we basically want to vote this on our April meeting then probably, right?
Great.
The other one that might want to have a representative is the Friends, right? But I guess it can be considered for the community at large. And do we have a clear defined role role for this committee, what they're going to, what we're expecting them to do, what they're expecting to produce at the end? Or can we come up with that?
Yeah, we can come up with that. Basically, it's gonna be input. It's not even,
It's an advisory committee.
yeah, it's
not an-
advisory, basically.
So a building design advisory committee.
Yes.
Okay.
Because ultimately, it's up to the trustees and the PMBC anyway, so.
Yeah.
So in April, we are going to vote in forming this new committee. And that's going to contain, hopefully, 1 selectman, hopefully 1 planning board member. Perhaps a Friends representative? Or you said you want them from the community, the Friends?
I have a feeling a friend is gonna,
I don't think we're gonna have to say that we want a friend, because I would guess that we'll get friends
Right.
applying in the
Okay.
community at large.
So
All right.
How many, how many from the community?
We're taking a 7 to 9 person committee, so there's
1 selectman, 1 planning board.
1 of us, 2 staff,
2 staff.
and then 4 from the community.
Sam, you'll be overseeing you will be overseeing these meetings and writing up the agendas and whatnot?
As much as I count, but yes.
Okay, all right, okay. All
Sam
right,
needs more meetings.
I do. I need more meetings in my life.
so between now and our next meeting, something is gonna go out into the public inviting interested community members to become part of this building design advisory committee. Okay, good, all right.
And then that committee will be the ones that are primarily meeting with Johnson and Robertson, not us, right? I mean, we'll be still meeting with them probably, and not as at least until September, August, September, right?
Anything else to add to upcoming informational meetings and this discussion that we've had on the Building Design Advisory Committee? No? Okay, other business?
I'd like to say that the Celtic music went very well, and we
Was it
had
good?
the room was at
It
capacity.
was awesome.
It was good, and that being said, we have another program coming up on March 26th. So if you got your tax refund and you're looking to take a trip, we have a travel across the world, budget-wise, with Marcia Yeager, and she's going to give you all kinds of travel tips. And for people that are listening, come on out and get out of the snow and go on a trip.
Nice.
Sounds
What's the date of that?
That's March 26th.
And
Bring
you
your
have
passport.
Movie night?
Yes, movie night is The Hate You Give. I believe it's next Thursday.
What's the movie?
Tonight. The Hate You Give, 7 to 9.
Next Thursday, today's on the 14th?
Yes.
Wow, that's quick. That book just came out and they already made a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Good for them.
And there'll be popcorn?
There's always popcorn. No one eats it except for you.
Oh, come on. Really?
Yeah, nobody eats anything.
I'll come and eat popcorn.
And there's a teen movie night, teen movie afternoon coming up too, right?
Yeah. Don't remember when. Do you remember when?
No, I don't. Check our website.
Yeah, check our website, littletonlibrary.org.
It's full of exciting things.
Well, I happen to know that there's 2 other town events that are happening on the 14th as well. The junior class auction at school and a cornhole tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mhm.
What time's the auction?
I believe it's 7 to 9.
What do
About the
they
same
auction off?
All kinds of things.
Jesus' bust.
All kinds of things.
Save money doing it just there.
All kinds of things.
It varies every year.
Is there gonna be a chair?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, that went away 2 years ago.
I know, because I was gonna bid on one, and there hasn't been any more.
You could have a Bill do one.
You could talk nice to him.
All right,
I'm not cheating.
motion to adjourn.
Second. I do apologize.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Our
Oh.
meeting is adjourned at 8:05. Our next meeting is April 4th, 2019. But